Hi, welcome to the show. A former senior cabinet member now being investigated for possible voter fraud in the 2020 election. That's coming up. But first, for the Russians and their few allies, there is little more valuable than successful propaganda. Imagine being able to say that they've granted asylum to an American who is suffering political persecution here in the United States. Well, that has now happened. I'm stunned it's not getting more attention. 49-year-old Evan Neumann fled the U.S. last year after being charged with 14 criminal counts in connection to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Newman's charged with a variety of crimes. The most important to me is assaulting police officers. The indictment alleges he was among the first to breach the Capitol and did so violently. According to a DOJ press release, quote, Neumann grabbed a metal barricade with his hand and shoved it into the line of officers from the Capitol Police and Metropolitan Police Department. After striking the officers with the barricade and also with his fist, Neumann, now joined by others, broke down the barricades. He then used the barricade as a battering ram, rushing towards the officers. He also allegedly told an officer, quote, I'm willing to die. Are you? All this landed Neumann a spot on the FBI's wanted list. The agency considers him armed and dangerous. But Evan Neumann doesn't have to worry about that now. He fled the U.S. last February, headed for Eastern Europe, eventually wound up in Belarus, which has a government more than sympathetic to Vladimir Putin, a government that has allowed Russia to invade Ukraine from its land. Now he has been granted what they are calling political asylum there. State TV outlet Belta aired footage of Neumann on Tuesday, and in a news broadcast, an immigration official announced that Neumann is, quote, completely under the protection of Belarus. According to several media reports, Neumann said, quote, I feel safe in Belarus, especially compared to my compatriots in America. Why isn't this a bigger deal? For Belarus to grant asylum to a man accused of committing crimes against American police officers, it's getting close to direct provocation. Will other American accused criminals now see Belarus as a safe haven for them to avoid justice? This case is troubling on many levels. Joining us now is Alla Leokavitz. She's a George F. Keenan Fellow at the Wilson Center, specializing in the domestic and foreign policy of Belarus. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So are you at all surprised that Belarus is doing this?
Fine. Thanks for your question. No, this news doesn't come as a surprise to me. In fact, this is not the first time Belarus has granted asylum or sort of sheltered this kind of controversial figures. Back in 2010, Lukashenko provided a refuge to the ousted former president of the Kyrgyz Republic, Kilmanbek Bakiyev, who also had to run away from his country as a result of popular protests. Yeah, so this news is not surprising. And to say more, I think the Belarusian regime has gladly granted a political asylum to Neumann because it wants to use this case for the propaganda purposes. In a recent interview, which Neumann gave to the Belarusian state TV channel, which was entitled Goodbye, America, he was portrayed as a very honest and a very sort of simple U.S. citizen who kind of exercised his basic human right during the 6th of January Capitol riot. And during this interview, the U.S. is presented as a country which exercises double standards because it prosecutes its own citizens for exercising their basic human rights, and at the same time also criticizes other countries when they crack down on opposition and civil society during the anti-governmental protests. So
let me ask you a bigger picture question, which is, should we be concerned that other criminals or suspected criminals in this country are going to start racing to try to get to Belarus to get protection from the government there. I mean, do you think we're at a point where they're going to start welcoming any suspected criminals who want to evade justice here, who can somehow make it to Belarus?
I think that might be a possible scenario. Of course, if the criminals manage to escape
Right.
from the U.S., because this precedent might have shown to the U.S. that it should be more careful with letting its people out. Yeah. So as I said, I think that's a feasible scenario.
Yeah. Let me ask you, to what extent do you think Russia may have been involved here? I mean, you know, there is the understanding by many in the West that Belarus sort of serves at the pleasure of Vladimir Putin. Would you expect that something like this with an American, which can be used as propaganda, would have been signed off on by Putin as well?
That's very much possible because, as you rightly pointed out, Lukashenko is now highly dependent on the Kremlin for his personal survival. He is ready to do many concessions to the Kremlin, and basically Belarus is becoming an extension of Russia's territory. So it's fair to say that Lukashenko is no longer an independent leader of his country. He very much listens to what the Kremlin tells him to do, and he gets approval for any of his main actions. For instance, the Ryanair incident last year, when one of the opposition leaders was taken off the board and prosecuted, it was definitely coordinated with the Kremlin.
Very quickly, let me just ask you one more question. You know, is this something that you think would have happened without the Ukraine conflict? Meaning, if there was no war in Ukraine, would Belarus still be welcoming this guy?
Well, a Ukrainian war might be an important variable in this equation, but not a crucial one. I don't think that it has a strong, in this particular case, it had a strong effect on Lukashenko's calculus.
Alla Leokavitz, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.